FA Youth Cup. How important is this competition in the context of your team's season?
I think the club will always look at the bigger picture first. So ultimately, our job is to help to get players in the first team. That's what it always has to come back to. This is a part of that journey. So the FA Youth Cup is important because it offers us a slightly different experience. It's an opportunity to play at a stadium, maybe to feel different kind of pressure, to play in front of supporters, which we don't always get at 18s. And that's about the players learning how to win in that environment. So yeah, of course, any game's important. You want to win at anything you do. But this is part of the process of getting players into the first team.
Do you talk to the lads ahead of time about how different things might be on these sort of occasions, like you say, the stadium, the supporters, all those sort of things? Or do you let them walk into the experience and see how they do?
I think it has to be consistent. So I think the danger is that you change everything for the FA Youth Cup and suddenly all these messages are new, with a few days to go. So I think you're consistently talking to the lads about playing in front of stadiums, managing momentum, different scenarios you get in games, going down a goal early, like, Blackburn at the weekend, and then responding. So yeah, you definitely are helping to teach them how to perform in that environment because it's probably the closest they're going to get to a first team at this point. But it can't be messages that you're just dropping in for the FA Youth Cup. They have to be consistent with the whole programme.
You mentioned the game at the weekend. Your team's coming into this game in a good bit of form.
Yeah, it's a good group of lads, to be honest, and that's a credit to the club and the job that people have done before. But they've performed well for the majority of the season. Can only really think of a couple of slip-ups performance-wise. Certainly the last couple of games we've performed really well, been strong, managed the game well, built really well, and I think most teams that will watch us now would have an idea of what our identity is. A team that enjoys having the ball and want the ball back as quick as possible, but prepared to really work hard and press. And I'd say probably this weekend was one where it all come together. We've had games where we've been quite dominant on top, but not necessarily took our chances. It was great to see us be a little bit more clinical and finish a game off quite early, and then be ruthless just in the way that we went about it after that, to keep knocking on the door time and time again. So yeah, it's pleasing. They've definitely had a period now where they've been strong.
I'm not sure how much you have changed, but has it taken the guys a little bit of time just to adjust to what you want?
That naturally will happen, I think, with a new staff member coming in. The club has been really clear about the identity that they want to go after. And it's worth remembering as well, there's a lot of the 18 staff that are around that have coached and worked with these players a long time before I got here. So that certainly helps the transition. So there's some bits that will be new, but there's also a lot of stuff that we're continuing to do that was happening very well, before I got here. So it's a little bit of a transition, but having the staff, around me and around the players that have been here a number of years always helps that. So yeah, a little bit of time maybe with some bits. But that's just the finer details. One thing I said, I think in the last interview, they've bought into it straight away, working incredibly hard, and that really is a credit to the type of players that they are and people that they are.
Something of a local derby for you on Friday night with the trip to Mansfield. What are you expecting from it?
What you will always get in an FA Youth Cup game, especially in the early rounds. I think the local derby bit adds a little bit more on it maybe, but it will be competitive. Mansfield always are competitive. At times they'll offer us a different challenge. Dueling and the basics of football are going to be really important. I think if the lads don't run, they don't compete, the game becomes very difficult. I think if they do those bits really well first and foremost, then you give yourself the best chance. And
have you noticed any extra excitement or nerves from the guys as this week has gone on?
Yeah. And I think probably if you spoke to any coach in the country that works with 18s, that will naturally happen. But, they play competitive games each week now, so they are used to it. I think it's the job of the players and the staff to not get caught up in the occasion and just play the game. Ultimately take care of the processes and then let the let the environment offer them a different challenge. I don't think we need to treat it any differently in our preparation or anything like that.